Hello everyone, and welcome to my Y&R News 24 channel. Nick Newman is walking out of those rehab doors once again, and honestly, we have to ask, is this really a man who's finally found his way, or are we just watching another chapter in a long, painful cycle of Newman-sized delusions? Was that absolute nightmare in the motel room a real wake-up call, or has Genoa City's golden boy just figured out exactly what to say to get his parents off his back? Was it a mistake, or is there something much more substantial going on? Before we get into the messy details, if these stories keep you up at night, and you love diving into the why behind the drama, do me a huge favor. Hit that subscribe button, leave a like, and share this with a fellow fan who needs to hear this. The channel benefits greatly from it, and I enjoy reading your theories in the comments. I'm Jenny, and this is Y&R News 24. This is the place where we go way past the surface of your favorite shows. We're here to uncover the psychology, the hidden emotions, and the real meaning behind every single plot twist. We attempt to comprehend Genoa City's soul as we watch the show. So let's talk about the current mess Nick Newman has found himself in. It's a total psychological minefield. For months now, Nick, the guy who's usually the stand-up guy of the family, has been fighting a losing battle with fentanyl and opioids. He tried rehab once before, but he failed miserably. He only stayed one single day. Only one day. Consider that for a moment. Why did he depart so quickly? He checked out in order to attend Victor and Nikki's vow renewal. He wanted to keep up his parents' image of a hero. He believed that by sheer egotism, his Newman willpower would suffice to beat addiction. Addiction, on the other hand, is unconcerned not only with your name, but also with your financial situation. Things got dark fast. He and a woman by the name of Marie ended up sharing a dingy hotel room. They had sex, they got high, and then the unthinkable happened. Greater than Nick woke up and realized Marie had overdosed. He had to perform CPR to bring her back to life. That was the turning point in everything. It wasn't a family meeting or a corporate intervention that woke him up. Realizing that he was looking into a mirror and staring at a woman who wanted to die. He saw his own future in that seedy room. Now, the funny thing about Nick is that he's always believed he could carry the world on his shoulders. He is the shield. He fixes everyone else's problems. But in that motel room, that belief was totally dismantled. He couldn't even save himself, let alone Marie. So, he did the one thing he's never been able to do before. He reached out for help. He called Sharon. Why Sharon? Well, she's always been his safety net. She represents honesty and unconditional support. Let's look at the psychology here. By calling her, Nick finally admitted he couldn't do this alone. It was a surrender to the truth. But I have to wonder, is he just using her as a security blanket again? Is he really recovering, or is he just being rescued because he's too scared to stand on his own 2 feet? In my opinion, calling Sharon is a huge step, but he needs to find his own strength eventually. Then we have the mustache himself, Victor Newman. Victor is how you know him. He tries to handle everything with his wallet and a strategy session. He sees Nick's struggle as a problem to be solved, like a hostile takeover of a rival company. He and Nikki are already at the ranch strategizing on how to help their son. But Nikki is the one who has to remind him that Nick has to do the work himself. Victor just can't handle not being in control. It's actually kind of sad when you think about it. Victor's own childhood trauma, being left at an orphanage at 7 years old, drives his need to control everything. He views Nick's addiction as a tragic flaw that makes the Newman name look bad. And let's not forget the real victim here, greater than Christian. This poor kid just had his entire world blown apart. He finally found out the truth about his dad's addiction, and his sense of safety is just gone. For years, Nick was the stable one. Now, Christian sees him as a vulnerable, fragile addict. That's a lot for a teenager to carry. It's not even about a custody battle with Adam anymore. The real horror is that Christian now knows his father could actually die. Every time Nick walks out that door, that kid is going to wonder if it's the last time he sees him. How can one even begin to heal from such trauma? While all this is going down, we have Matt Clark back in town. He shows up at Crimson Lights and actually starts crying, asking Sharon for forgiveness. Can you believe the nerve? Sharon is gutted because she's already dealing with the fallout of Nick having sex with another junkie. She's furious with Matt because she blames his past actions for starting this whole downward spiral for Nick. She basically tells him that his forgiveness mission is a huge ask and that she isn't interested in helping him feel better about himself. Honestly, good for her. Matt is not deserving of forgiveness just because he is now feeling guilty. Now we've seen some leaked scenes that suggest Nick is ditching rehab again. This time, however, it feels different. It appears as though his physician has actually given his blessing. He's at the ranch with Victor and Nikki, and Victor is asking how the clinic felt about him leaving. Nick says he's ready to return to his regular life. But is he really? Or is he just desperate to get back to Christian because he feels so much shame? Fans are totally split on this storyline. Some people are bored and just want it to end. They say this isn't why they watch soaps. They want a treat at the end of the day, not a heavy story about fentanyl. However, Joshua Morrow's performance absolutely astonishes other people. They claim that it is his best work since Cassie passed away. One supporter even stated that he is turning to sugar. I have to agree. Even if the writing feels a bit dark or dragged out, the acting is top tier. Joshua Morrow is showing us a side of Nick we've never seen, broken, desperate, and raw. So, what's next? I predict that Nick's return to normal is going to be a disaster. There's already talk of drug dealer drama coming up in the future. And then there's the Adam factor. Nikki is already worried that Adam is going to try to take Nick's place in Christian's life while Nick is away. If Nick feels like he's losing his son to his brother, that could be the ultimate trigger for a relapse. I really want to hear from you guys on this one. Do you think Nick is actually ready to leave rehab, or is he just telling his parents what they want to hear so he can go home? And what about Matt Clark? Greater than is it right for Sharon to keep him at a distance? Or should she find the strength to forgive him? Honestly, let me know your thoughts in the comments. I read all of them, and I love hearing your takes. Please like the video if you enjoyed this in-depth look. It really helps us keep making these updates for you. And if you haven't already, make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you never miss a beat with Y&R News 24. Thanks for hanging out with me today, and I'll see you in the next one. Is Nick really ready? So let's talk about the current mess Nick Newman has found himself in because honestly, it's a total psychological minefield. For months now, Nick, the guy who's usually the stand-up guy of the family, has been fighting a losing battle with fentanyl and opioids. He tried rehab once before, but he failed miserably. He only stayed one single day. Just one day. Can you imagine the ego it takes to think you can beat a fentanyl addiction in 24 hours? The funny thing is, he checked himself out just to go to Victor and Nikki's vow renewal. He put his entire life at risk for a party in order to maintain that hero image for his parents. He really believed that his Newman willpower would suffice to push through it. But as we've seen, addiction doesn't care about your last name, and it definitely doesn't care how much money is in your bank account. Things got dark for him, and they got dark fast. He ended up in a rundown, seedy motel room with a woman named Marie, a junkie from the room next door. They had sex, they got high, and then the unthinkable happened. Nick woke up and realized Marie wasn't breathing. He couldn't feel a pulse. In that moment, the hero in him kicked in, but it was a desperate, terrifying kind of heroism. He performed CPR and literally brought her back from the edge of death. But here's the kicker, Marie wasn't even happy about it. She wished he had just let her die. She was terrified of the consequences of her husband finding out, of the world knowing her secret. Nick refused to leave her like that and called 911 anyway, watching as the paramedics took her away while he just broke down and cried on that motel bed. That was his rock bottom. He wasn't awakened by a family get-together at the ranch or by some corporate intervention. It was staring at a woman who had given up on life and realizing he was looking into a mirror.